Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, people. Um, Today we're going to be announcing all of the winners to the diabetes boot camp. I'm so excited today. Let's see who's gonna win the meters. So I'm just gonna put this here on diabetes boot camp group. In March 21, Diabetes Bootcamp, March 21. Boom, 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 boom. All right, all right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Here we go. We are going live. We are going live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Albert, Terry, and Angela. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a beautiful morning, and I hope that you guys had a good time yesterday in Easter, if you celebrate that. And welcome to the last day. We're going to be announcing all of the winners today. So how are you guys doing? Hey,
Good.
Terry, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Great. I saw your email and I responded to your email. So just check it and let me know.
I did. I said return the 67. I intend to pay in full.
Okay, cool. So I'll just send you that return pretty quick now.
Okay, great.
Yeah, awesome. And I saw that I think all of you joined. So I'm really excited to see you guys in there.
See, we have a new addiction.
Yeah, definitely. And so we'll make that a good one. And so, yeah, really excited for you guys. I think you guys are going to love it. And it's going to be a great 3 months. It's a lot slower pace, so it's not as intense as this. But definitely the information is awesome. So, and we take some of the same approaches, even a little bit better. So a lot of surprises for you guys coming up.
Yay.
What's the start date?
So the start date is April, so that would be next Monday, April 12th, I believe. Let me make sure with my calendar so I'm not telling you.
That's what I read too.
It is April 12th, yeah.
Gosh,
April.
I didn't read the date. I must have, I kept looking for it. April 12th, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll be sending out a bunch of information to you guys, and the modules will become available. And so we'll have our first call on April 12th. And I'll be putting out in the schedule, everything in the Facebook group. So as the week goes on, like all the stuff will be loading in there. So yeah, really excited, and we'll have a call once a week.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll have more people joining in, and so that'll be great. Some people won't be from the boot camp, but it'll be great because the information is new. Like I think Angela asked me that yesterday if it was a requirement, and it's not. Some people will be joined, but we'll make a seamless transition in a way that that they'll be able to learn a little bit of what we've done, and not fall behind. And also it won't be boring for you guys at all, so because it'll be all a lot of the new information, so kind of works out both ways. So I'm excited for all of you, and I think and so if I announce the winners here, it's gonna be the let's look at the scoreboard, and it's gonna be the blue team.
Woo!
The blue team took it home. I think the yellow team, Ana Maria was going at it pretty hard yesterday. So she caught up with everything yesterday. I saw Francis and Ana Maria going at it pretty good. And I know Joanne was trying to pull the red team up too. So good job, everybody. That's great. I love to see that hard push at the end. So what you guys will get is that you'll get this meter, and it's a kit. And so you'll get this kit, which will have a meter. It'll connect to your app. And I think the cool thing is that you'll be able to measure your glucose and your ketones both at the same time. So you can start kind of putting the whole picture together. kind of like Angela has been doing a little bit. And Angela, what we can do is we can find you the meter, maybe the strips that you're using already, and we can send you a bag of strips that way, or we can send you this kit, whichever one you like.
I think, oh, I see what you mean. Okay, give me a chance to think about it.
Yeah, no problem. Let me know through email or text or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, definitely. And so yeah, so this is the little kit. And this is from Dorian. Dorian is the guy who owns the company and who has the that amazing story where he lost a bunch of weight and he kind of got what he calls his mojo back. So that's what he called the keto mojo. So so you guys will be getting one of this. You'll be getting a call or a message from Kiana. You see Kiana right here? So that's our project manager, and she'll be reaching out to you guys to get the address. So don't think that she's like a spammer or anything like that. She'll, she's a part of the team, and she will be getting your address so we can send you the keto mojo. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Would it
I-
be, will the meter be, the blood glucose reading, will it be in the mmol or you'll be in the American the range?
This will be American range, yeah.
So I have to do a conversion, right? I mean, I'm using mmol now. So American range be 100 plus all those readings, right?
Yeah, you'll just, on Google, there is like a little, you just put the little box and it'll show you exactly what the numbers are.
I got my own meter. I did it having listened to Dorian, and I tried to get a Mojo one. The thing is, they don't export. They do have some arrangement that they sell some in Europe and probably other places, but they don't export. So once the strips are done, we won't be able to get any more strips.
Gotcha. To England, right?
Correct. Well, yes, correct. I don't know about Singapore, but to Europe, they don't export. They have something where a company that does sell them. I would have bought it, except they were out of stock of that, and they were out of stock of the strips. But you definitely can't get the American strips exported to Europe.
Okay. So let me know, because we can talk to the team and see what we can do and what they've done. Maybe talking to them directly, they have a way of doing it. I'm not sure. Maybe not, but and so just let me know if you want more strips of the one that you already use. We can find like a little kit and then just get it for you, or we can get this one.
And if you got this one, would you be able to get one that uses the mini moles? The M-mole?
In the UK version, probably not. They probably do it in the milligrams per deciliter.
They do make them for Europe. They just won't export anything directly to customers, and we won't be able to get the American strips to fit the American machine.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying that Keto Mojo does make him for the Europe market, but it's hard to get the strips.
I don't know. All I know is that when I looked, both the meter and the strips were out. But if you were to give us an American machine measurer, we would not then be able to get the American strips exported to us.
That's weird. Okay, let me talk to them about it and see what I'm sure they've had to come to figure this out before. So I'll be sure to talk to their team. I have a pretty good contact with their team, and so I'll talk to their team and see what they usually do with international orders and UK orders, and see if they have a good workaround. Sounds good, and I'll figure out for both Singapore and for the UK.
Yeah, for Singapore, it's so using the same as the UK MMOL, that number. And
That's
also,
right.
I do not know whether the strips is I can get it also. I have not checked yet.
Okay, we'll try to we'll try to workshop something around that.
Might apply to Canada as well. I don't know.
It might, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll leave that with you.
Yeah, I'll talk to them about it and see how they do it. We'll see what what they do with Dorian being Australian. I would think that they might have to work around this somehow. So I'll talk to their team and see how they can help.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely, definitely.
Well, this is all new to me, but I have a little, I have an acrostic poem for you for this morning. Ready?
You wrote a poem?
Well, it's not really a poem. It's, I looked it up. I knew it was a little thing. It's called acrostic. And it's where you take the first letter of your name or whatever. Okay, here you go. It's just for Dr. Zuleta. Ready?
Okay, do it.
Okay. This is like your cheer back.
Okay.
D for determined, R for relentless, Z for zealous, U for understanding, L for learning, E for energetic, T for transformative, and A for awesome. And that's your thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yay!
you, Terry.
Woohoo!
I
Go
like it. I
Dr.
like it.
Zuleta. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
woo.
good. I appreciate that.
There you go.
Terry has some really good that little poem that you wrote too is really good. So I appreciate all of that.
Yeah, I'll just put it in writing and then you can have it. Just
Oh,
to remind you,
thank
have those,
you.
when you
What
feel
was
like your
that?
nerves are up, there you go. Look at something positive.
Absolutely. Oh, those things are amazing. I have a little box of all the things like my patients over the years. And, some of the days that you're having a really, when you're having a tough day where, maybe things went wrong or something like that, all you got to do is look at that box and you
Yeah.
start going back. I have things going back maybe 10 years.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and I mean some of the letters and all those things help a lot because you start realizing that it's important work, and I've been honored to be in a part of people's um, inflection points in life.
Oh,
You
nice.
know, yeah, and so I think I'm so grateful for all those things because they really help a lot. And the days that I'm feeling good too, I look at them and it feels really good. And so I think we all can benefit from something like that.
Yeah, it's nice to give a shout out or, are people lifting us up, and just to be mindful of that. I know as a teacher, you never know the influence you have on your students. And then every once in a while, somebody will write you back 20 years later and tell you like, hey, I was that kid in the back of your classroom that used to twirl her hair and suck her thumb. And now I just graduated from Duke and I was valedictorian of my class and I'm majoring in genetics. And thank you for always making learning fun. And I'm telling you, it makes you cry. I mean, when it comes back to you full circle. So I know you give to so many people relentlessly, and it truly is appreciated. So thank you for all.
Oh, you're so welcome, Terry. You're so welcome, and thank you for those kind words. And I think your background is all in education, right?
Yeah, first it was music. I was a music performer, like used to gig and play jazz and blah, blah, blah. And then that led to music therapy, working with Down syndrome kids. I was working with little kids, doing music and teaching, and then it led to public school. So
Wow.
yes, I taught in a variety of settings for years.
Wow. And you're
then
now in administration, right? If I understand.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, what an amazing work that you do. It's so important, teaching
Yeah,
and
it's
education.
challenging. Is your daughter very old? Is she in school yet?
My daughter?
Yeah.
She's about to go to architecture school in a couple of months.
Yeah, so she's in school yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's about to finish high school. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. definitely. So we're excited for her and her making that next transition. So
Very cool.
yeah, it's amazing. And all the teachers have made such a big impact in her life. So we're really grateful for that.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, definitely. And then, before we go on to a little bit about the last piece, is any questions about anything? Albert, do you have any questions about your blood sugars, anything like that?
Okay, okay, no, because what's happening is that I experimented with food again today, and although my blood sugar went up, it also gradually came down. So what I need to do, like what I said yesterday, I have to be more intense and do more fasting to empty that bowl.
Got it. And did you keep your insulin low at night?
Okay. Oh yeah, I have to share this. I did the same thing. I reduced the night dosage to 20, the last night dosage. My reading was 5.9 and I reduced it to uh, at 20 units. The next morning, I woke up early because I have to go to work. I don't wake up so late as in the weekend. About 4:30, my reading was a bit low, 4.6. I'm quite surprised because I had lowered it by 4 units and I still get a low reading.
Nice.
Okay. And what happened is because it's low, I had to take an early breakfast with an egg and a bit of some broccoli and alfalfa sprout. And about 6:20 it went up to 7, which is still good. The only thing is that at 10 o'clock, it went to 7.1 and before lunch was 7.3. The only thing is that my lunch did bring it up a bit more because I think I had something which is too much for me. I had 2 eggs, a salad, a mixture of some salad, but no, I didn't put any dressing or anything. I used the egg as the fats. But the thing is that I had a craving, so I had a fried chicken wing. So that means it brought my numbers up to 9.7, about 5. But it went down after that to 8.8 before dinner. And before dinner, it went down to 8.4. So it shows that it's going down. So the only thing is I shouldn't have taken that fried chicken wing.
And it's 8 point after dinner. It went. Did you take
No,
insulin?
before dinner is 8.4. Sorry. Before dinner is 8.4. So I have to wait until about 10 o'clock before I can take my 2 hours after dinner reading.
Got it. And what was the and that was what was the reading after dinner?
Now, after dinner, I have not taken yet because I just finished dinner about 8:20.
Got it.
So it's
Got
not
it.
that long ago because my dinner is a bit late.
Got it. And remind us your number before the boot camp. That
Yeah,
when in the morning.
in the morning was between 8 to 10.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, you went from, because this is in the morning, and you were at 24 units of insulin before, and you were in between 8 to 10, and so somewhere around here in the
Yes.
mornings, and so you went from here all the way down to here, and even while reducing your insulin. So that's phenomenal. I think that's wonderful. That's great, Albert.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised because when I reduced last night, I came up with 4 point something, which beyond my expectation.
Nice. No, well done, well done. And you continue bringing your numbers like that. 20%, 20%. So the next one would be 16 units. And keep emptying the bowl. As you see, it's like the numbers are getting less and less, and it looks like your body's responding, and so your body's producing the insulin it needs to be able to bring the sugars down even after the meals.
Yes,
Did
but
you
the
use
thing is,
did you use insulin?
no, I didn't use insulin. What you told me, don't do any correction. See what the numbers are, because if I do correction, I won't be able to see what the numbers are.
So this is all without insulin during the day. The only thing that you took was the 20 units at night
20 units at night and before dinner. That's
and
all.
before dinner. Yeah, that's great. Wow, that's great. So that's awesome, Albert. I'm impressed actually. That's awesome.
But I have to watch what I eat because right now my bowl is not empty yet. So
Right.
whatever I eat will cause it to go up and come down slowly. So maybe I'm going to do intermittent fasting on alternate days.
Got it. And I would start checking out the salmon. You know, something like sashimi or just fish, and seeing how that influences. Sometimes for people, it really helps them to change their protein to fish. It's a little bit cleaner. Sometimes the fried, as you notice, sometimes the fried, the chemicals that they put in the oils in which they fry the chicken with can cause a pretty big insulin response. So in some people, so that's just something to keep in mind. And so I'd be curious to see like sardines or salmon, anything, any fish, what it would do to your sugars.
Okay, I've not tried the sardines yet because I'm trying to see when I will start the sardines. When I do that, I'll let you know the results.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know. But that's great. That's great, Albert. Amazing, 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 amazing. That's so cool. So good for you. Good job. Good job with everything.
Thank you.
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
Hey, Dr. Z, can we
Uh-huh.
ask a quick question? Like, and maybe we'll get into it when the blueprint starts, so you don't have to go into it. And Albert, I was thinking about air fryers. Or I don't know if those are healthy, but air fryers seem to not use the oil when trying to fry a food now. But
Right.
the like as we go toward the micro, I was reviewing a report and I think I emailed you about it, but women, how they always say women are prone to osteoporosis, porosis and bone density issues, or just in general, because we're
Mhm.
just our bodies down over time. But they I did a lot of research on the recommendations. It's quite a bit of calcium and vitamin D. And of course, Seattle, probably like Angela, where she lives, there's low light in the winter. Well, like where you are too. And so I'm trying to keep track, which that food journal is so good for that, to look at the nutrient levels to see what. I was just curious yesterday. It's hard to get as we reduce food, and then we're maybe not trying to have milk or the fortified foods or the dairy because they're just a carb load. And I know you said sort of like don't worry about that first. First, just do the 20 carbs below to attack that first. And then you go deeper into the story, which I think that's probably the answer. But it's hard to draw vitamin D to the level they say we're supposed to maintain daily, and the level of calcium, even when tuna, all the things that are rich in calcium, it's hard to reach like 1,000 or 12, whatever they say. Is it mgs of vitamin? And I hate taking stuff. I really, even supplements that are healthy, I don't like it.
Right.
So I do want it to come from my food, but God, how do you do it? How do you balance all the things you're supposed to have in your body? And maybe that's what the next part is all about.
Got it. Yeah, and so a serving of salmon will give you wild caught salmon will give you about 1,300 units of vitamin D. And so that's pretty much good, right?
That's there.
Yeah, exactly. And so
How much calcium will it give you?
for a salmon,
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
they say the vitamin D helps the calcium to get whatever they want, 600 or 800, and then they want 1,000 to 1,200 of the calcium, but which comes from cheese is a good source. It gives you 198. I looked up yesterday of salmon, calcium. Yes, calcium. But it was hard. I mean, I kept trying yesterday to get up to the suggested amounts. And there's probably variance with that because you can get a lot of vitamin D if you have the sunshine, just to let it get naturally into your skin.
Right.
But it was like, how do you get enough calcium?
Right. Yeah, I mean the vitamin D. I mean salmon. You know, for salmon, yeah. So specifically for vitamin D, if you do salmon, that'll give you enough vitamin D. If you do sardines, that'll give you a lot of vitamin D. If you do things like cod liver and mushrooms also.
Yeah,
And
I looked that
so
up, the top 7 items. Yeah.
right. And so those will give you a lot of vitamin D. And then you know, in terms of the hormones for women, that does get a little bit more granular. And so yes, for
Okay.
some women, they're gonna start having problems with that later in their life. And sometimes we have to look at the hormones and we have to look at the progesterone and the estrogen levels to see if that's low or high and see
Oh,
if they need anything like bioidentical hormones to help them along. Because sometimes they can put we can put on more weight. The same with men when they're having like male menopause and
oh,
their low and their testosterone is going down. But sometimes you need a little bit. You can tweak a little bit enough where it will cause where it will give you where it will give you a little jump. Like you don't have to put men on testosterone for a long time. And for women, sometimes you can put them on a little bit of hormones, and then their bodies will balance, and then they'll be back into normals. Um,
God.
yeah, in terms of calcium, I would say cheese, seeds have a lot of calcium, and things like yogurt.
Yeah.
Yogurts have a lot of calcium. So
Yeah. I just saw they also have carbs. I'm so conscious of trying to stay around 20 carbs. And so every time I get like yogurt, 6, like, you know, I know cheese doesn't have as many carbs.
right, right.
It's just an interesting balancing because then you go, okay, cholesterol, but then I'm figuring it out, but it is interesting as I shift to a sort of a different level of honing in and then thinking about the little side repercussive impacts of those choices. But it sounds like what I'm hearing anyway, try to keep to that 20.
And most people will actually, you know, their HDLD will go up, and so you're
Yeah,
with this, you'll actually have cardioprotective. The good cholesterol will go up actually, you
great.
know. And so you know, unless you're eating like really polluted like meats and things like that, like
Yeah.
you know, full of steroids and antibiotics, you know, that's a different story. But if you're eating pretty clean, like you know, good quality food, most of the times your cholesterol, good cholesterol, will actually go up. So you will have cardioprotective. There is actually a very small amount of the population that will have certain genetic makeup that these won't be so good in the long term. But for the most part, you know, most numbers actually get better. And there is actually a guy who has experimented with this inside and out, and his data is amazing. And he's, yeah, I mean, the levels of HDL go really high. So it's actually cardioprotective.
Great.
Most of the
Okay.
time. And almonds too for calcium. So.
Oh, great.
Mhm. Um, and so I think, and to answer, for instance, Angela's question about supplements, Angela, so if you look at the supplements, I know you were asking a question about supplements. I want to make sure I answer your question. You look at some of the supplements that have the best benefits, right? You're talking about berberine, and you're talking about berberine, and you're talking about supplements that will decrease the glycemic index by about 15%. And so you know, the what you're gonna get, the benefit that you're gonna get is probably about 10-15%. So we're talking about psyllium and cinnamon, berberine. Psyllium and cinnamon, it would be like 500 milligrams twice a day for 3 months. I would try that because those were all the studies that they did. And the way that it works is that is a little bit similar if we talk about cinnamon, it just allows the insulin to work better and to uptake the sugar into the organs a little bit better. And then the same with berberine, it actually increases the uptake of blood sugars into the cells. And so it's good in a way, but it's not a lot different than taking another medication. And so in the long term, it's just almost like Terry was saying, that the best way is actually to get to the root of the problem. So if emptying the bowl is the root of the problem, then taking berberine might disappoint you because it might not give you the results that you want. And I hope that makes sense. And so when you're talking about berberine and cinnamon, you know, you can do that, but it's not it's probably going to get you, you know, 10-20% decrease if you take them pretty religiously sometimes. So that's kind of the token with the supplements. The other supplement that is really good that has been shown to help is probiotics. And so there is actually a study that was done, and I can show you guys the study here because I know Angela was kind of asking about supplements. And so this is the study that was done. And Dr. Coulterman and his colleagues, they studied mainly three things. And so these were the things that they put into the formula. And this was kind of like the first study of its kind, which is interesting. And just all of these fancy words, these are just different types of bacteria. And so they put these bacteria in people through a pill, and then they saw that their hemoglobin A1C did drop, but it was pretty small. It's like 0.6%. So yes, it does work. They actually put this in a supplement that they call Pendulum. So it does work, but think about it, it's really not the root of the problem. So you might be disappointed 3 months from there, you know, if people are taking these pills or these supplements and they're saying, you know, my diabetes is still here. The microbiome, the probiotics help a little bit more because they're actually changing the microbiome, and so they might improve the cravings, things like that. But at the end of the day, you know, when you get to the root of the problem, which is really emptying the bowl, that's where the real results come. So, you know, a lot of times we can go to a doctor's and if they want to give us the easy answer, they'll just give us the pills or they just give us the supplements. But really, that's not going to empty the bowl. I hope that makes sense, Angela.
It does. But you're talking about it as either or, and I'm not seeing, you're talking about it, well, I'm hearing it like you either empty the bowl or you take the pills. But I was wondering about taking some pills while I'm emptying the bowl, and would it help?
Yes. And so that's a great point. And actually, that is the third option in a way, right? It's somewhere in the middle and making room for everything. And so that's perfect. And so, yeah, you could empty the bowl while you take the supplements, and it could help you a little bit. Definitely. It could help you, you know, bring it down a little bit. And so berberine will help you bring it down a little bit, or psyllium and cinnamon will help you bring it down a little bit. I would say that those are probably have the strongest evidence without a lot of the toxicities that some of the other supplements have.
Okay, then. So I have some of the cinnamon and I have some berberine.
Okay, great. And do you know in the dosages? Do you have the dosages?
No, I might have, but if you'd give them to me, that would be good.
Well, the studies for berberine, they've done studies where it's 500 milligrams twice a day and I would try for 12 weeks. So you could try it for the whole 90 days that we're doing the blueprint program. And then when you check your next one, you can know what it is.
Okay, good. And the cinnamon?
And the cinnamon is actually about the same, 500 milligrams twice a day for 12 weeks. So 3 months. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
I might do that. Yeah. Just a quick question. I presume if we're going for almond flour, you don't want us to have it bleached?
For what?
Almond flour.
Yeah, I would get it as organic as possible.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Everything I look at's bleached.
Yeah, definitely. Just try to get a brand that you know that's organic and that's as close to organic as possible.
Okay. And on the new program, you'll have a feed as well as Facebook, because I'm not posting on Facebook again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll have a feed, and I'm actually, you know, sometimes these little blessings in disguise because I've thought about that before, and and you know I'm everything that comes at us. I think is important for us to make it better, and I think is a great opportunity for us to use the feed more and you know Facebook is great, but also I'd also utilize these other platforms so that people can, you know, so that we don't have to be so restrictive. And you know, I get it where they're coming from. There's probably a lot of people out there trying to just make money or giving wrong information, and they can harm people too. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I get where they're coming from as well, but it's a horrible experience being kicked off.
Oh yeah, I completely understand. You know, when we're running different programs or they'll block everything. So you know, you can have even the summit. You know, if we were doing ads for the summit or anything like that, they'll just shut it down. So
Yeah, yeah,
without explanation. So
yeah. No, I know, and they just leave you hanging, don't they? They say you've been disabled. You can ask for a review, which I did, and they say if we're okay with your review, we'll put you back on. But they don't say we'll write to you and tell you you're never getting back on. You just have
right,
to wait.
yeah, yeah, it is
Horrible,
bad. Yeah.
horrible. It's
Yeah, it
torture.
is. It is. It is. It is. I mean, yeah. I mean, it of course is their company, is their platform, but it's just a little bit weird once you get into that. The same
Yeah,
happens with YouTube too. If we're running ads on YouTube or anything, it's pretty sensitive. It's pretty
right.
sensitive to be able to do it. But I think we have to figure out a way because we have to, in a way, make people aware of this and
Yes.
so that they're not only getting one side of the story, they're not only getting, hey, here's your insulin, here's your Victoza, here's all of this, they're hearing the other side of the story. So we have to figure out a way to do it, and you know, I think we're doing it. So we just got to keep going.
Excellent. Thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
Dr. Z, Angela's talking about supplements.
Mm-hmm.
This friend of mine is a total supplement freak, you know, in terms of analyzing ingredients, etc. And they own, which is great, but they only order off the Bastyr site because they were telling me that so many supplements out on the market really vary. Like you think they're a good brand, but they're maybe not.
Yes, yes,
And
that's uh-huh.
yeah, so I looked at that Bastyr site with what they offer, and I saw that berberine and you know different things that were recommended. And do you even like when people take like the fish oil? It looks like it's just composed of mackerel, sardine, and salmon oil, but like people are so hung up on the omega-3s and 6s. Do you think that's a good thing?
I think it is oxidized, and so you're not getting the best quality omega-3s from the supplements. The best ones are from the fish.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and so you
Thank
can take it, and you know if that's there are a lot of studies that show benefits in some of the things, but the best omega-3 is from the fish itself because it
Yeah, I bought a
hasn't been
beautiful piece of
oxidized
salmon
so much.
last.
What was that?
I bought a beautiful piece of salmon last night because I'm in salmon territory. So fish is very accessible here.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
great. That's great. Yeah, and so I think that's the best in a way. If you can go with the food is great. The food is there. The food is to nurture us, and a lot of these superfoods, you know, we can get a lot of the benefits from the foods itself instead of having to supplement. But for some people, you know, they feel like they have to supplement, and it does help them in a little bit. So that's okay too. You know, I think making room for everything a little bit, it's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I like it coming from the food. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, So that's great. Let's see, what about codfish from Albert? Yeah, codfish is great. Codfish is great. Um, Codfish is wonderful, and it has a lot of vitamin D too. And I would venture to say, Albert, that it might be a great idea to check what it does to your blood sugar, because it probably will be pretty beneficial, and it might not make your blood sugars go up at all. And at the same time, you're getting a lot of the good fats and protein. So yeah, I would try it. For those of you in Facebook, let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about this, about the 90-day program, or about anything that we've talked about. And so, just to summarize everything, I think there is a piece of the puzzle that a lot of times we don't take into effect, and I think is so valuable. Um, one time the first day, I don't know if I've told you guys the story. The first day that I had to pronounce somebody dead in the hospital, um, it was when I first got out of residency, and they called me into the patient's room, and I went into the room, and I might have told the story before, but they called me into the room, and I went into the room. I was walking down the hallway, and the hallway is pretty dark at the hospital, and at night it's very calm. There's not a lot going on in a hospital, unless there is like pretty bad emergencies. And so the nurse had called me that this patient had passed away, and she was do not resuscitate. And so I was not to go in there and try to bring her back or anything like that. And so when I went into the room, I saw the lady laying in her bed, and she had passed away clearly, from her body. I could tell that she had passed away. The monitor had said that she had passed away. And then I went in, and her husband was sitting right next to her. And when I went into the room, he was so calm. And it kind of took me a second to be okay with that, in a way, because you're expecting them to be upset and crying and all of this, and that's okay too. But it just took me a surprise that he was so calm and peaceful. There was just such a peaceful environment in that room. And I asked him, I said, how are you doing, after I had checked on her, and I said to him that she had passed, and he said, okay. And I asked him, how are you doing? And he said, I'm doing okay. And I said, kind of like trying to, talk to his own words. And I said, are you doing okay? And he said, yeah, I'm doing okay. She was good to me, and I was good to her. And those simple words, they've kind of got tattooed into my brain. And they made me realize so many things about life that we really don't take into perspective sometimes. And how simple it can be that at those last breaths that we take, we look back at life, and we either say, I was good to them, and I was good to her, or I was good to him, or I was good to myself, or not. I mean, it's really that simple. And I had people that in their deathbed, they have told me, I wish I would have loved more. I wish I would have loved my family more. I wish I would have loved my partner more. I wish I would have loved my kids more. And they're struggling with that, in their last sort of days. And so I think an exercise to do that is really interesting. I came across an exercise that is from the country of Bhutan, where they meditate on this pretty much regularly. And so if you don't know, if you've never heard about the country of Bhutan, the country of Bhutan is one of the actually the happiest countries in the world. They have the happiest levels. The happiness levels are the highest in the world. And so they're pretty happy people. And one of the things that they do is that they meditate on their own mortality on a daily basis. So they kind of think through they have this little meditation that is like a 5-minute meditation, where they imagine how their body will decay and how they will pass, and how that is just a cycle of their life, and how their loved ones will do that too. And I think that can be, from one perspective, we could look at it and say that that's depressing, but from another perspective, it's actually really energizing. And when they actually do studies with some of the high-level CEOs of some of the most successful companies in the world, they've had near-death experiences. And so when I was going through business school, we were looking at all of these reports from all of these characteristics of all of these leaders. And some of them had gone through really hard situations in which they almost died. And so if it faces you with this mortality, and it faces you with realizing that we are more alike than what we think we are, right? And that in a way, every day that we're alive is a gift. And so, you know, when we look at everything that we had talked about, and when we have talked about biology, and so we went through genes and the genome and the epigenome and all of the microbiome and the proteome and the metabolome, all of the things that comes from our genes and turn into proteins, that's the metabolome. We talked about all of that. And then we talked about our environment, you know, and how important it is, like all of the things that we're having in our foods, all of the things that we're having in our products that we're using, all of the people in our lives, the places, the things, the policies, all of that has a major impact. And then that there is an interaction in between those two, into our biology and our environment, that our health is not only our genes, our health is also our environment, right? And then, you know, that there is a third piece of the puzzle, that how we take in the information that is given to us and that we are exposed to, and how we translate it, all of our cognitive distortions, all of our biases, and then the knowledge, the behaviors and the attitudes that we have can make such a big impact. And so that's when, you know, we talked about biology. And there is a piece that, you know, interacts in between psychology and environment. And then there is a piece that interacts in between our biology and our psychology. We can talk about biofeedback, or we are going to be talking in the 90-day program about like the hard math and how can we use biofeedback to be able to talk between the body and our psychology. How do we use that? And, you know, the interactions between our environment and our psychology, also the things that the triggers are really important. So in the 90-day program, we go a little bit into detail about what triggers are and how they actually can improve our performance in life, and how when we feel our best and we perform our best. And then, you know, there's a part in between the biology and the environment that they interact. Things in our environment can trigger our genes to do certain things. And so all of that is really important. But you know, then there is a piece of the puzzle that that is really important, and is right in the middle. And it seems like, you know, there is a connection in between all of these things, and all of these things interact with each other in different ways. And so some people would call that God, some people would call it quantum physics, some people call it many different ways, right? And I think a good way to explain it, just like that man and that wife, you know, were in that room together, and that they were able to have such a deep level of connection and satisfaction with their own life. How is it that we can then take some of those lessons and integrate it into a way that can help us live very meaningful lives? And I think to explain that, there is a great concept that I came across. I was listening to the Dalai Lama and one of the world leading physicists, right? And so the physicist was saying that in quantum physics, you can divide everything, right? You can divide everything by atoms. You know, our bodies, you can divide them into atoms. You can go into smaller and smaller scales. And then you get into something that is called the Planck scale. And the Planck scale is in which you cannot divide an atom anymore. You cannot divide the particles anymore. And so in a way, it's indivisible. And so almost everything becomes of the same. And so what happens is that then Dr. Zillinger, that is his name, he said that there was a point of inference, right? That we can know and we can go into detail about certain things, right? But then there is a point in which past that point, we are only making inference. We are only kind of thinking and making inference that past that point, we really don't know what it's like. And then the Dalai Lama, in the same place, said, oh, in religion is the same way. In religion, there is a point in which past that point, we don't know. We are only making inference. We are only making inference. And I said to myself in that moment, I said, wow, in medicine is the same way. We think we understand certain diseases, but this is evolutionary, right? And so that will continue to go on. And so there is no, I've spent a lot of time with gurus. I've spent a lot of time all over the world with shamans and with ancient practices. And I became initiated as a shaman myself. And what I realized is that there is a lot of knowledge. There is a lot of amazing benefits. If I went to, and that each religion, each philosophy had its own beauty. I grew up in Colombia as a Catholic, and it gave me a lot of amazing things. It gave me, community and retreats and customs and parties with our families and really good memories. Of course, there is the dark side of it. And then, if I travel to Nepal, I would learn more about the Hindu culture and the Buddhist culture, the goods and the bads, right? And I spent time up in the mountains with them, and I realized if I was born there, what would I have been exposed to? If I go to the Middle East, some of the same things. If I ended up in Africa, in some of the towns that we've had projects in, like in Zanzibar, in Tanzania, I always ask myself, how is it that if I grew up there, what would I know? What would I learn? What would I have been exposed to? And so it's trying to make room for everything. And so in a way, we then start being able to gain self-awareness. And so in this way, there is mainly two things that that can kind of help us in as we go through this process. First, realizing that there is a point of inference, that no guru, no person can do the work in a way that you have inside of you, right? No person can give you the gift that you have inside of you. No person, no leader, in a way. You are your own guru in a way. And I've spent time with so many of them. And of course, they have amazing valuables. But the most important thing is that you realize that you are, that everything is within you. Everything that you need is within you. And so, and that there is a point of inference that no one knows. It doesn't matter how big the religious leader is, there is a point of inference from their perspective. And so I think the point of inference is an important part to really keep in mind, and to keep us all grounded, and to keep us all in a way realizing that we're all together. The second part of this is our calling in life. And so our calling in life is really important. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And the other part of it is to be able to realize that we have to make room for everything. And so what does that mean? That means that if I have a baby here, and I ask that baby, what color is this ball? He's going to tell me blue, right? And if I ask another baby, what color is this ball from this perspective, he's going to tell me that it's red. And so this baby is going to tell me that this ball is red, and this baby is going to tell me that this ball is blue. And so this is what is called the first person perspective. And this is what is called the second person perspective, is when the baby, seeing the ball from the red side, is able to then grow up to realize that his perspective is not the only perspective. And this is an evolutionary part of our brain. But some of us can get stuck in this place, and we would say that they were egocentric, or that they would be they would have some sort of personality issues where they're not able to really integrate themselves into the other perspectives and realize that other people have other perspectives and that they are just as truth to them, right? And so this would be what is called the second perspective. In a way that this person is able to acknowledge that this person might be seeing a blue ball from the other side. And only as we grow up, we're able to realize that. And so this self-awareness is really important as we grow up. And what happens is that there is something called the 7 levels of consciousness. And it's a great framework to be able to understand that there is mainly certain evolutions that we go from egocentric, so thinking like the baby, that the ball is only red, that our perspective is the only truth, to ethnocentric. Ethnocentric is believing and thinking that the perspective of our community is the only truth, right? And then we're going to ethnocentric, which thinking that maybe the the human beings or a larger context of the community is the only thing that exists. And then that leads us into cosmocentric, which is being able to have love for all things in life. And so that's when you're getting into into animals and plants, and a lot of the shamanistic and ancient cultures did have a lot of this love for the spirit within everything, the spirit within things. And so I think just to kind of put it into perspective, the point of inference is important to realize that we don't know, that past the point we don't know from the scientific perspective, from the religious perspective, that we are only making inferences. Then these inferences are based on a lot of our points of perspectives. And then the last piece of the puzzle is our calling. And then to this, I want to share with you guys, you have probably seen this before, but this is a Japanese art that is called Ikigai, and you have probably seen it. And Ikigai has mainly 4 parts. Because a lot of times we think to ourselves, okay, if I do what I love, then I will be, it will be kind of happy. I will be happy. But what happens is that we have to couple what we love with what we are good at. And so then, if I'm good at art, and I love art, then this is my passion. This is my passion, right? But then what happens is that we need to look at what the world needs too. And so what the world needs. And so if we do what we love and we do what the world needs, then in a way that is our mission. Our mission. And then if we look at what we love, what we are good at, and what the world needs, and then what can be paid for. So what we are, what we get, a healthy reimbursement for. And so, and payment is just a way of saying it, but the world nurtures you back because of what you're doing. And so if you do what you get paid for, and what the world needs, in a way that is your vocation. And it's hard to write in this thing, so that's why I'm all over the place. And then if you do what you're good at and what you get paid for, this is your profession. But in a really good sense of the word, the money is right in the middle. And I mean the money like the sweet spot, because it's in this sweet spot where you have what is called ikigai. And so what the Japanese call ikigai, which is a calling for life. There is an excitement, there is the light of the fullness, and there is a comfortability. And so you're doing what you love, you're doing what is good for what you're good at, you're doing what the world needs, and you're doing what you get paid for. And so all of it comes together. Because if you just do what you get paid for and what the world needs, you're somewhere in here. And so what you end up with is excitement and complacency, but a sense of uncertainty right here. And if you do what you love and what you're good at and what the world needs, then you end up in this little hole right here, and you're having no wealth at all. And so you're broke, right? And if you're just doing what you get paid for right here, if you're just doing what you get paid for, but not something that you love, you're comfortable, but you're feeling empty. And so this is why it's important to look at the whole thing in a way to have our calling. And so that's why in the last drawing, I showed you guys that it's really about the calling. So what is the calling? And in a way, the way to explain it is that when they have done studies to show whether somebody has a job, a career, or a calling. If somebody has a job, they say that you walk up to somebody working on a church and you ask them what they're doing, and they can say, well, my job is to lay bricks. And so they are laying a brick, right? And then if you ask the second person, hey, what are you doing? And they're saying, well, I'm building a church. And then if you ask the third person, they say, well, I'm building the house of God, right? You know, whether you're religious or not, you get the idea. The first person has a job, the second person has a career, and the third person has a calling, right? Interestingly enough, studies show that the people who view their job as a calling, they have higher satisfaction, they have higher happiness levels, they have less sick days of work, they are more effective, and they are more of a joy to work, you know, that they're enjoying themselves, and they are also a higher of a joy to work around. And so, do you have a job, do you have a career, or do you have a calling? And so it's just a couple of the things to think about, because if that's not aligned, it doesn't matter how much kale you eat, you know, we're really not going to be feeling our best and performing our best. So those are some of the things that I wanted to kind of sort out in terms of how to look at the philosophy of life, and how you can make room for everything. You can make room for everything, to integrate all of these things, to align yourself to your dreams and aspirations and to what makes you inspire. So that's it for today, and that is it for the bootcamp. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'm so excited that all of you guys have been a part of this process. So thank you so much.
Thank you. What the kale? It's been great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this last piece. I think it's wonderful.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions? Any insights? Any insights? Any questions?
Oh yes, I just want to check with you. When will you be sending the schedule? Because the thing we want to know is that when you get the schedule, you'll see that there's a Zoom call link, and the time is important, because if you change the time, I will need to know how to adjust
Okay.
the time.
Yeah, the schedule will be done probably by Thursday this week.
Okay, because if you change the time, I have to see how to calculate what is my time zone, so whether I can join or I can't join the Zoom call.
Got it. Got it. Does this time, Terry, how is this time for you? This is pretty tight, right?
The fact that I have gotten up at 5 every morning is a testimonial to satisfaction. Yeah, it's
Oh,
fine. It's fine. I can do it. I feel like I'm in my rowing days where you get hands on the boat at 5. It's okay. It works. Doesn't it work for you because you can do it before you go to work?
yeah, it does, right. In the weeks that I'm at the hospital, right. And in the other weeks it works too because I get up early anyways. And so that's okay. So we can keep it, and it's only once a week too. So that's fine. We could keep it at this time. And for Angela, it works pretty good, right? For the international crew, I think it works pretty good.
Yeah, it's good for me. 1:30 in the afternoon.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, we'll just keep it at this time, and I'll keep them all at the same time, and I can print out the schedule for all of you by the end of this week, and I'll put it in the in all of in the mission controls and in the Facebook groups of the 90-day program. So really excited about it to go through that process with all of you. It's really wonderful. So looking forward to it. And that's it. If you guys don't have any questions, thank you so much for being a part of this, and have an amazing day. And it's so wonderful to have met you all, and I'm just so honored to be a part of all of this process, and I'm honored that you have trusted me and allowed me to support you through it. So thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing your gifts with us from the inside out. It's transformed all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I second that. Yeah. Sorry, Albert. I second that. Go for it, Albert.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I agree.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You are welcome, and I hope that you guys have a phenomenal week and a fantastic Monday. Okay.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Yay.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.